Look, I know what I am. I can be a, let's just call it sassy. It could be a pain in the ass. It could be whatever we want to call it. But I always allow some people the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, I don't think you did the right thing. Maybe you should fix how you reacted to this thing. But if you clap back at me, I'm going to complain about you on my show, because that's the joys of being a pundit online. And that's what happened here with Katelyn Burns, who had just the dumbest article over on MSNBC. This awful anti-trans propaganda film is an absurd fantasy of male domination, opinion piece. The movie pretends that adult men can simply declare themselves women without taking any steps to medically transition and then dominate women's sports, by Katelyn Burns. She's a columnist, and it's entirely about Daily Wire's new movie that they just put out called Lady Ballers, which is a comedy kind of in the vein of like your Scream and Dodgeball, these kind of silly, goofy comedy, things like that. And it's yeah, it's kind of propaganda. Let's be real. It's the Daily Wire. They have an agenda that they're trying to meet by putting on a movie like this. I think I heard Jeremy Boring, who directed this film and stars in this film, said they did it in like 3 or 4 months. They wrote and did the whole production and everything. They used people that were around them. A bunch of they reached out to some other right-wing actors who decided this is a bit much for what we want to be a part of. He took it as a little more dire, but I think this is kind of not the hill to die on sort of movie. It's a goofy comedy. But this numbnuts here, Katelyn Burns, a transcribe on Twitter, a transgender individual, it got all angry about it and wrote this review. I say review with quotes because she didn't watch the movie. This individual did not watch the movie. They went and watched the trailer and wrote the most high school-esque article I've ever seen. Lady Ballers, a movie written, directed, and headlined by Daily Wire CEO Jeremy Boring and featuring an appearance of a former Daily Wire editor, Ben Shapiro. He's a co-owner, for starters. He's a show on Daily Wire. He's very much part of it. He's just not the CEO or editor-in-chief anymore. Is the latest awful propaganda the conservative media has fashioned to a weapon against trans people. The absurdity of the movie about cis men dressing up as women to play basketball is revealed already in its trailer, where Boring's character asks, quote, "So a guy can become a girl with no physical changes at all?" Question mark. And then absurdity happens. The movie's made to make a joke of what they view as a joke of the way we handle this in modern society. Because many left-wing activists have taken this to the utter extreme, which is, of course, going to happen with this. So you see it on the right, too, with taking things to the extreme also. For example, is that like a 15-week abortion ban or something crazy? Some New Hampshire rep tried putting through that obviously isn't going to go anywhere. Stop taking the nut job seriously. Let's start with that. And so I went on Twitter and found that she posted it here, her article, and someone blocked me, so I can't even show the initial post of who I was commenting on. This individual that blocked me said something to the effect of, "Wow, it must have been terrible to watch this movie," or something like that. And she wrote, "I did not watch it, but read plenty of reviews and, of course, the trailer." You're writing for MSNBC. Do you understand that? And I reply, you're a writer for MSNBC. You can hate everything about the project, but you should at least watch it. The article is a poster child for clickbait culture, and the movie is probably crap, but at least put in an effort. Like, if you want to call out Daily Wire for doing some garbage product, fine, watch it, make a comment. They'll say this looked like they filmed it in 4 weeks, which it was. Say something like that. Pretend your punditry has a hair of journalism in it. This is an opinion piece. I do want to make that very clear. And there's a very big difference between a journalistic review and an opinion piece. But, I mean, put in a little effort here. And then she decided to clap back at me saying, "Cry harder," which just eggs me on even more. I don't know what else to say about that. What did I write? I wrote, "Write more gooder, LOL." Because I'm a child, I can't help it. I am what I am. I don't write for MSNBC. And then they just start getting dogpiled on a bit for being on there. I take it you didn't look at this polite critic's timeline, because someone did say, like, I didn't say anything bananas. Like I said, like if you're writing for a mainstream outlet, you should be putting in some effort. Like this person wrote, this is your response to a well-articulated, constructive, and polite criticism. Sad. And they called me out for, I mean, ultimately it came down to the fact I said, I reposted Count Dankula saying on Piers Morgan's show, saying that's good that Alex Jones is back on there because of freedom of speech. You can hate whatever these people say, but it's great they're on there, and this is what makes me an evil person. And then I called them out, and they said, quote, "You're free to tell us the nuances of writing, performance, of cinematography were missed by those who didn't watch full film. Nobody is stopping you from writing your full defense of lady ballers, AJ. Let us know what you're missing." And I wrote, "I'm merely giving the nuance of journalism and punditry." This comes down to, if you want to be a pundit, a journalist, opinion writer, at least try and inform yourself. You can hate everything I do on this outlet. You can say I'm the worst pundit, I have terrible takes, I'm a terrible interviewer, writer, whatever it is you want to say I don't know how to do properly. But at least I put in the effort. I listen to an ungodly amount of podcasts. I take in tons of articles every day, and I at least think I've formed my opinion from listening to people I disagree with on both sides of the aisle. I always say, if you agree with your favorite pundit more than 80%, it means you probably are slipping into being an ideologue and being a bit sycophantic towards the person that you are watching. You should, and then there's a balance too. If you disagree with them more than 50%, it's really frustrating. I've stopped subscribing to podcasts on the right and left because of that balance being a problem. But you find a balance between it, and that balance is something that many on the left don't understand. And at Transcribe, please leave this individual alone. Many of these people commented. I don't expect anyone to do anything, but please leave them alone on this. But this is my problem. If you want to be a pundit, you want to be part of the media, you need to do more than the clickbait. You need to say more than "it is an anti-trans propaganda film, an absurd fantasy of male domination." It's a goofy comedy. Context. We've forgotten about context. I've said this for years now. People don't think it matters. I think it matters now more than ever with how toxic our debate has gotten, where people are called terrible things for no reason. I'm called a terrible racist for saying people should have should not be blackballed from jobs and the internet because they've got opinions that I disagree with. Like, I disagree with Alex Jones. I think Alex Jones is terrible. He's people view him as this prophet when I think he says so many crazy things. Of course, the broken clock's going to be right twice, and he's been a broken clock for many, many years. So guess what? Someone who's got his ear to the ground on a lot of crazy conspiracies is more likely to come up with more and more truths in what's going on in our world. And I think we should let all the crazies talk, including this individual. Burns here should definitely have a platform. I just think it's a huge mistake and a disservice to our media landscape to have someone who can't even be bothered to write. And I've checked out their Substack. It's terrible. Their writing is childish. Like, I sent it to Dexter, my contributor, to say, like, does this look like a first draft high school article or something? And he's like, I couldn't even finish it. Their podcast is painful. I listened to a couple episodes, like 50% of the way through each of them, and I had to turn it off because it was just poorly put together and the production was a mess. Put in some effort. If you want to be in the media, you're not going to be perfect. I am far from perfect, but at least put in a bit of effort. All right, NewEnglandTech.com. We've got a brand new website. Please go check it out. I'm going to be having a new video coming out later in the week covering the Sheriff Mark Brave case with reporter Damian Fisher of NHJournal.com. And Dexter Tarbox will be joining also with some news he's been able to uncover on the story, and it should be interesting. Talk to you soon.